visit my blog www.ilovetansyong.com. Pero sobrang excited ngayon dahil live na live tayo on Sunday evening. Hindi tayo lalarga kapag hindi natin tatawagin ang ating co-host. This is, let's give it up for Princess.
Good evening, guys! Nako, ang lively ng background. Bakit ang lively ng background mo, Tansyong?
Wala, ano lang. Naglagay lang ako ng background. Okay bang audio ko? Hindi naman masyadong basag. Ha?
Okay na okay. Kailan ba naman mag-fail ang isang condenser mic?
Truth.
Anong
Akala ko
sitwasyon fail ang condenser mic? I think nag-fail lang yan kung talagang sira na. Or hindi nakakabitang saksa ang ang cable. Pag-uusapan natin kasi kitang-kita naman diyan sa title mo, 'di ba? Answering the 10 questions. That's the 10 common questions
of 10 common
questions presidential interview. Ayan. Ako rin talagang tinutukan ko 'yan from Monday to Friday at sobrang fan ako kasi ng mga interviewers like Boy Abunda and Karen Davila at marami pang iba. Kaya inabangan ko talaga yan, yung interview ni Boy Abunda. At meron siya 'di bang short clip na talagang nanonood daw si Boy Abunda ng mga nung na-inspire siya sa US elections last year. Have you watched that video of Boy Abunda?
Hindi pa. Yung the
talagang
making,
you know naman si Boy Abunda na he's very dramatic. Tapos, thank you to ganito. Isa-isa talaga. Thank you to, parang kala mo naman, the chairs from Kevin, Cobonpue, ganyan. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Mga upuan. Isa-isa niya, mga upuan. Ang kaibigan ko si Cory Vidanes ng ABS-CBN. Hindi rin nagtanong. I'm in. Thank you. So,
drama.
Naloka na lang talaga ako kay Boy Abunda Talagang, pati ba naman yung mga chairs. Marami siyang isa-isa mga hindi mawawala si Boyso of La Carmela de Boracay. Yung mga na palagi niyang binabanggit sa The Buzz noon. Hindi naman halatang fan ako ni Tito Boy. Pero talagang since similar question siya from Monday to Friday, nakita mo yung talagang nag-adjust si Tito Boy. I mean, yun ang napansin ko. Ewan ko lang sa inyo Kasi nakita kong sobrang ang galing talaga ni Tito Boy.
Oo, it's actually what we call profiling and mirroring. So parang yung pag-execute niya ng interview is actually basing on the capacity of the interviewee. So parang hindi naman pwedeng basta-bastahin or gagamit siya ng mga malalalim na terms, and kung ang interviewee naman ay nganga. So, not to bring the embarrassment of the interviewee. And kasi isa sa mga presidentials ay parang binati ko si Boy or Tito Boy when it comes the way he asked, he kept interrupting. But I think what he was doing was parang redirecting the interviewee into a better answer supposedly that will make the supposedly the presidential shine. O yun yung point of view ko doon sa mga fandom na inaaway siya. But meron akong nabasa kasi dito sa Rappler, the pros and cons of a celebrity host as an interviewer sa pagdating sa politics. Meron silang mga pros and cons na nilagay nila doon, but I was not able to deep dive kung ano yung mga pros and cons na yon. But hopefully, maasasagot natin yung mga tanong na yun if given a chance to answer those questions. But since we are fortunate, we have this platform to actually use and try and attempt to answer those questions. Those were actually tough questions.
I don't know about you, pero mas gusto ko yung gano'n yung chill. And then,
kasi yung parang, hindi kasi, ikaw kasi parang buong week ka nanonood, parang lately lang naman ako nanood, binge watch ko siya. Tapos, yun yung disadvantage kapag binge watch mo dahil alam mo yun, mafe-feel mo yung drama, ma-absorb mo yung, alam mo yung vibes ng mga sagot na parang until now hindi pa ako makaka-move on, na parang isa yung chill-chill ka na parang ako, shit, parang ang heavy niya, parang it's something na we have to tackle, parang ganun yung dating sa akin. Kaya siguro parang ano ba to si Tansyong, parang nag-script pa and everything, ganun siguro talaga. But alam kong ibabalance mo naman, and let's have fun answering those questions. But again, go back to our viewers. Hi Tansyong and Princess Bernadette Lico. Let's start with the first question. Let's have some fun at fun, but I think din siya, sukat din siya ng kakayanan kung paano sagutin. Kasi minsan kasi sa call center kasi industry, kahit mali yung sinasabi mo, but how confident you are when delivering your statement and makes people believable. Parang
pares lang ba to? Mining is one of the most controversial issues. On April 2021, President Duterte lifted the 9-year moratorium under Executive Order 130 from no permit to granting new permits on mining. Meanwhile, in December 2021, DENR lifted the ban of an open pit via Administrative Order 2021-40. These were praised by the mining industry but criticized by numerous environmentalists and human rights defenders. So, tanong, if elected, are you going to strengthen these proposals or will totally ban them?
O diba,
Ako Tansyong, wala akong alam dito
nakakakilabot the way you ask, diba? Parang especially kung ikaw nandun sa upuan na yun, di ba? Nakakatakot siya, in fairness. But I will try to answer the best that I can, based on my knowledge. So walang tama, walang mali, fun.
Wala namang 5 minutes dahil 50 minutes na lang. Kung mag-take 5 minutes pa tayo, edi umabot tayo ng bukas dito.
Wala na. Wala nang ganon.
Make it short.
Make it short.
Questions sa paghahaba-haba. What are your thoughts about this? Kasi for sure, ewan ko, di ko alam ang moratorium. Dami kong terms na hindi alam dito. So, what are your thoughts lang about this? Very quickly.
So if given a chance to be the president of the Philippines, if I am going to strengthen those proposals, or will totally ban them?
Are we answering like we are running as a president?
As our point of view, diba? So, I will totally ban them. So, baka iba yung point mo. Sa aking point ko is, I will totally ban them. This is due to the fact that if we actually consider mining, it will damage the nature. And totoo naman na talaga namang nakakatulong sa economically speaking. The side effect is more destructive pagdating sa tao at saka sa nature. Kaya nga bungabaha, kaya nga nagkaroon ng climate change, kaya nga nagkaroon ng poison, river, polluted water, floods, na yung nag-earn lang dito is yung mga capitalist. And of course, pag nag-franchise ka, pag nag-issue ka ng permit to franchise, syempre makita ang government, taxation, and all that. Of course, but if you are going to quantify sa GDP or sa gross, parang mas may mga malalaki pang industry na pwedeng i-consider, like agriculture, like yung human resources. Marami tayong magagaling na mga tao, marami tayong nurses, magaling tayong pabrika, agriculture, fisheries, na pag titignan natin yung hunting and forestry, fishing.
You will totally ban mining because it's destructive to the environment, and even though na parang there are positives about mining kasi it contributes to the economy, kung destructive naman ito sa environment, parang ifo-focus mo na lang yung
ibang industry.
Sa ibang industry. So yun yung
lalo ng agriculture.
Parang
true. Kung ikaw naman,
is it possible na parang i-abolish ang mining? You know what? Gusto ko sana maging fun Kaya lang parang hindi talaga tayo matatapos dito ng 1 hour. So,
go.
Ang naisip ko lang talaga dito sa mining is si Princess Sarah. Dahil yung tatay niya. Ang tatay niya, di ba si Daddy? Ay, namatay sa
Daddy long legs ba yun? Ay, hindi. Iba to. Si Sarah para itong pinag-usapan natin. Munting prinsesa.
Namatay sa mining, di ba, sa India.
Oo, oo,
Kaka-refresh ko lang
oo.
kasi ng Princess Sarah kasi yung movie ni Camille Prats, kaka-upload lang sa Star Cinema. Kaya pagkarinig ko nung question ng Mike, actually pagka ganyan in environment, ang talagang mas well-versed, I mean, hindi naman well-versed, mas exposed ako sa tanungan is sa mga deforestation. Yun
Mm.
yung parang familiar ako. Pero pag sa mining, hindi talaga ako masyadong familiar. Ang isa pa nga naisip ko is about cryptocurrency. 'Di ba? Bitcoin is minimina. So, feeling ko ang dami talaga magagalit. Hindi lang yun na-realize ko na parang many things are being mined. Even your smartphone, minimina yan. So talagang hindi talaga siya, I don't know, magkaiba tayo dito. Parang hindi ko rin alam ang sagot dyan. Kaya hindi na ako magmamarunong dahil wala talagang kaalam-alam dyan. Feeling ko, since magkaiba tayo, we really need to find, ways para mag-meet halfway. Kasi
Mm.
admit it or not, it's an important industry na hindi na marami talaga ang pinagkukunan niyan. Iba't ibang mga bagay na parang hindi na lang magpo-progress kung walang mina. That's what I think at sa maliit na na alam ko about mining. So there
Mm.
should be, and Boy was talking about sustainable mining. So
Oo,
yung
tama.
isa pa sa mga tanong ni Boy Abunda kasi, yung parang very tricky kasi yung mga follow-up questions niya
Mm, mm.
na pag kumaliwa ka, parang mali. Parang
Oo, oo, oo.
pag
Totoo.
kumanan ka naman, parang mali rin. So, parang parang di naman talaga yun yung parang
Tsaka ang hirap din
way.
kasi 'pag sumagot ng safe, kasi parang dapat risky kapag nagsumagot ka. It's either black and white, walang gray area kasi ang
You
hirap
really
din 'pag
need to think
safe,
out
eh.
of the box. Kailangan mong
Correct.
mag-isip out of the box para hindi ka talaga kakaliwa, kakanan. Meron pang situational question kasi ni Boy, parang maze na wala ka namang
Walang
lalabasan.
kakalabasan. Oo,
So,
oo.
kailangan you think out of the box para basagin yung maze na yan. So,
Oo, 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 oo.
well, it's kinda tricky pero yun ang ganun si Boy at I hope yung mga candidates na sagot na maayos yon. Next question na tayo, no? COVID-19
COVID-19
pandemic.
issue.
Hindi ko 'to maano na parang pagbigkas ni Boy, kasi this is actually full English na yung na-research na
Pagkakaano ko.
question ni Tanchong, 'no? Kasi si Boy kasi nag-aano pa yan, nag-expound pa yan in Tagalog in the middle of sentences. Gusto mo mag-shoutout? May nag-ano ba? May nag-comment ba?
Shoutout muna tayo bago tumawid sa next question. Good evening po. Ang ganda po ng topic niyo sa mga live news, Sir Tansyong. Buti po napanood na namin ulit si Princess. Na-miss po namin siya from Rodsel Mercado. Ang gwapo ni Rodsel. Oh, pwedeng jiwain, oh. Hello,
I
hello
hope
kayo
there.
dyan.
Question number 2, COVID-19 pandemic. We have been suffering from the pandemic starting March 2020. According to DOH, as of 2022, we have already reached 3 million cases with 50,000 deaths. In addition, per Johns Hopkins University COVID-19 dashboard as of January 30, 2022, 372 million total cases with 5 million deaths worldwide. We already knew that this virus vicious and unpredictable. We already heard different variants from mutation, for example, Delta, Omicron, etc. It mutates, but the question of when and how can't be answered. But one thing is clear, it's killing people and the economy. So, question, tanong, given the viciousness and unpredictability of this virus, if elected, what is your program? Napakahirap talaga ng COVID-19 isolve. Pero gusto ko yung sagot nung isa na it makes sense naman na let's just follow other countries. Pero ako talaga, to be totally honest, I'm also not gonna be forcing
Doubtful.
the unvaccinated
Mm-mm.
because I'm really pro rights
Oh.
of a human being na kung anong gusto niyang likido or chemical na ipasok sa katawan niya. what's important is we stick with the basics of how the pandemic should be addressed. I think nagkakaproblema tayo dahil ang sineryoso na natin yung new normal. When we started this term, the new normal, actually hindi naman talaga tayo nag-ingat eh. When we promulgated new normal, parang namihasa tayo. We should stay home all the time. That this is, trivial. Is
Mm.
iba, I know mag-agree kayo, yung iba nagpa-party, ganyan. We should stick with the basics lang. Kasi minsan ang advance na natin mag-isip, pero the actual solution are actually basic lang naman na hindi naman natin magawa-gawa.
Ako nag-a-agree din naman ako sa'yo na sobrang hirap talaga i-solve tong issue na to. Sobra. Alam mo yung halimbawa na-solve mo na yung isa tapos may paparating pa ulit na next na problem and continuous siya. One of the answers na narinig ko doon sa 5 presidential candidates was we have to make sure that we are ahead of the problem. Paano siya gagawin? Yun yung questionable, but I think what I can advise is we need to be more innovative when it comes to addressing the problem. We have to use a holistic approach. Hindi yung basta-basta lang na ito pwede na to, ito pwede na yan. The worst thing here is the government agencies who are actually handling, lalo na sa mga PR, mga ganon. Most of the time when I heard the news and public addresses, they keep sugarcoating like we're already in a parang monitored situation, we are now controlled situation na tayo. Well, in fact, in reality, kung on the ground tayo, lahat naman talaga, hindi naman talaga totoo yun eh. Magla-lockdown, hindi naman lahat lumalabas naman lahat kasi hindi naman lahat nagkaroon ng ayuda. So those things that we have to learn from our mistakes kasi nga nangyayari na 2022 na eh. Ang COVID nag-mutate na, ang Filipino hindi pa. That's what I keep saying na sobrang hindi lang naman to problema ng gobyerno, problema din naman natin to lahat eh. Hindi tayo natututo sa mga kamalian natin.
At saka pag grounded talaga sa willingness na tumulong, I mean hindi mo aantayin na na magkaroon pa ng surge. Kasi ang nakita natin for the past 2 years, kung kailan lang malala, doon lang action. So, kasi wala naman talagang willingness na tumulong. At yung point na yun is applicable sa maraming problema. Number 3 question. According to PSA, October 2001 reported 3.27 million jobless Filipinos. October 2010 has 2.79 million. October 2016 recorded 2 million. October 2021 had 3.5 million. Meanwhile, according to SWS, when it comes to hunger, quarter 3 of 2001 has 9.3% Filipinos who experience hunger. Quarter 3 of 2010 has 15.9%. Quarter 3 of 2016 has 10.6%. And quarter 3 of 2021 has 10%, or around 2.5 million of Philippine population. Given the data of 3.5 millions are jobless and 2.5 millions are hungry, this is an urgent and alarming problem. So tanong, if elected, what do you do? He mentioned joblessness, hunger. I think he mentioned din yung yung mga slogan. Ganun si may dramatic. Oo, talagang dramatic talaga yan si Tito Boy eh. Well, sa kahirapan, agree ako dun sa isang isa lang ba or dalawa sila nagsabi na talagang corruption naman talagang root cause talaga ng again, it boils down sa sa genuine pagtulong sa bansa. Kung talagang gusto mong magserbisyo at hindi talaga ma-involve sa korupsyon, at maraming di ganon kalala ang problema natin sa expenditures at sa revenue. So, corruption, I agree with that. Pero, yung way, kailangan maging specific tayo, hindi ko rin alam. I think yung isa parang ang dating is he knows who are really the corrupt and he's gonna do something about it. But we need really specific plan on how to deal with the corrupt people. So, yun lang akin.
So ako naman, atakihin ko naman to sa economic kasi since I'm a graduate and I'm economist na hindi nga lang by profession kasi nga hindi ko naman siya nagagamit based on what I have learned and it should be applied accordingly dapat, no? Actually, the economy is actually down. One of the government interventions that they need to consider is to spend a lot. Tandaan nyo ha, to spend a lot. As ordinary individual, parang, ay, baliw naman to si Tansyong. Uy, imbes magtitipid tayo kasi nga diba, naghihirap. No. In economic approach or economic way of measuring or gauging and how to address the fluctuation of the economy, one of those is kung hindi kaya tagutom or bagsak ang ekonomiya, just like what we are actually experiencing, government should spend a lot of the budget, spend. Kasi when they actually spend, for example, hindi naman siya related sa COVID, or they're going to focus on infrastructure. By projecting or executing infrastructure, it can create jobs. And jobs will subsidize the family that will treat hunger. Same with the first other one is kung gumastos ang gobyerno, the fast velocity or the fast velocity of the circulation of the money sa economy ay bibilis. And one of the measuring factor ng pagtaas ng economy is how fast the circulation of the money. And by throwing money in the economy from the government, kahit sabihin man natin na hindi siya tama, but it is the major intervention and positive intervention para bumalik ang economy. And that's how I address poverty. Sabihin na natin merong corruption. Meron naman talaga dyan eh. Kahit sa school, huwag na natin pang i-sugarcoat pa yung word na mga tuition fee na may pag i-itemize natin, may nakalagay doon miscellaneous fee. Those amount are not accountable. Hindi siya na and that's one of the corruption. Hindi na natin totoo yan. So, corruption is given the fact kahit sa small, kahit sa tindahan natin, meron kang business, meron kang tindahan, meron kang magbubulsa ka dyan sa nanay mo. Hindi mo i-remit lahat ng mga and those are not accountable and we call it miscellaneous fee. Same thing with the government, corruption is given. Nasa lang kung gaano na talaga kalaki yung percentage ng corruption. Corruption is normal behavior in the economy but should be only for a specific percentage.
Kasi nga recorded naman lagi namang ginagawa yan eh. Ang dami namang spending talaga eh. Yun naman talagang palaging ginagawa. Pero dahil nga sa corruption, yung quality nung saan napunta yung spending, sa halip na quality ito at talaga napunta sa dapat puntahan, hindi. Kaya doon nagsisimula yung kahirapan. Dahil ito yung nasa record. Yun yung that's how we understand it on paper, you spent this amount, pero what's happening in real life, hindi naman, kung anong output, hindi naman ganun eh. So, yun yung side na to, yung back end or front end or that end of the spectrum, yun yung ayusin dahil yun yung hindi maipaliwanag kung ano na nangyari dito sa bakla, ano nangyari dito sa sa pinalagay natin ng mga housing, saan napunta, mga ganyan, saan napunta yan, yung ganon, di ba?
And that's what we called implementation. Doon na katalo-talo pagdating na sa implementation. Execution ng project kasi corruption nga rin naman talaga.
Number 4. In September 2019, PSA reported that there are 2.2 million Filipino migrants worldwide. This includes 96% as contract workers and 3.2% as non-contracts. Remittance accounted for $8.9 billion 2018, $30.1 billion 2019, $29.9 billion 2020, $25.9 billion October 2021, which contributes 11% of the national GDP. On the other hand, there is a social cost that is unquantifiable that contributes to the destruction of the Filipino family. So dito medyo dramatic talaga si Tito Boy, no?
Bakit ba si Kuya Boy? May ba siya? OFW family ba siya? Parang hindi naman yata, no? Product of family, hindi naman.
Hindi, magano lang siya maglatag ng kanyang
Madrama lang talaga siya.
talagang ng kanyang maze.
May
Kasi
emphasis.
doon alam mo, syempre kailangan mong 'di ba? Dramahan mo yung question dahil kung sino man yung yung sumaluso dun sa drama at talagang nagdrama din, edi kayo nang bahala kung totoo ba yun o hindi. Ganun yun. Ganun yung reasoning noon, okay? So tanong, how do you balance the economic positive effect of having OFWs and the so-called social cost? Okay, ang naalala ko talaga dito yung movie ni Ate V, di ba? Tsaka ni Claudine. Ano ba yung linya noon?
Ano ba yun yung tumatak sa akin na parang pinapakain ko habang habang parang tumutuwad ako sa ibang bansa, nilulustay nyo ang pera ko dito. Parang ganon. Parang ganon yung niya doon eh. Linyahan niya doon tapos bago sampalin habang tinitipid ko yung sarili ko, ganyan. Tapos nilulustay niya yung pera.
Kapag ng malaking pera dito sa Pilipinas. Yun. I don't know kung nangyayari pa ba. Nangyayari pa ba yan?
Oo. And
ito yung madalas ko narinig nowadays. Yung parang may iba na nilustay nung lalaki sa ibang babae or nilustay na babae sa ibang lalaki yung pera, ganyan. Tapos may anak na pala sa ibang may mga ganun. Ako, marami naman akong kilalang OFW. I mean, hindi kilala personally, pero may nababasa at napapanood ako sa YouTube ng mga nag-enjoy naman sila maging OFW. Hindi dahil hirap na hirap sila, dahil gusto naman nila talagang mag-ibang bansa at mag-adventure. So, ang distraction nasa naman yan eh, nasa tao yan eh. Diyos ko naman. Ako may friend naman ako na nag-OFW. Diyos ko dalawa na lang silang magkapatid. Isang, it's 16 years old, isang 5 years old. Yung naghiwalay yung magulang niya at yung mother pa niya na nag-iisa nasa US. Hindi naman napariwara yung bata. Nasa tao na yun. Basta, umayos kayo mga kabataan. Umintindi kayo sa kayo masyadong babad sa social media. Huwag kayong masyadong free data. Mag-aral kayong mabuti.
Yun. Yung sa akin naman is first-hand experience.
Narinig ko na yan, di ba?
Parang, basta ang hirap niyang i-explain. Ang hirap niyang i-explain, Princess. I don't know if you can relate to me. Kasi nga, you actually grow in a parang ideal family setup na merong nanay na nagtuturo sa school. Tapos parang, di ba?
Pornhub, online streaming for adult content, reported the 2021 year-end review. According to the report, Filipinos spent 11 minutes and 30 seconds watching adult videos, which makes the Philippines #1 consumer, even surpassing France and Japan. Meanwhile, a Grammy Award American songwriter Billie Eilish, ito yung favorite ko sa part ng buong interview. Nababanggit si Billie Eilish.
At kilala siya ng isa sa mga presidentials. Doon ako natuwa.
Right.
Pop culture si Yorme. Go.
Yes. She was exposed to pornography as early as 11 years old. She admitted that it affects her mental state destructively, especially how she looks at sex. And in her 20s, she's on her way to recovery. Hypothetical question. What will you do when you discover your young children are addicted to pornography?
So kung halimbawa naman ako, pornography kasi is also an industry and we have to respect that. It's also a big industry that contributes the economy. It's just so happen na hindi lang siguro yung distribution is masyadong bluntly na, alam mo yun, bulgaran na it became accessible to younger generation or those children. Pornography, for me, is actually an education. And it has to be patronized by anyone who is actually in a age.
Dito is protecting the children. Sa adults, naman.
So yun nga, hindi just to connect my idea, a princess is I'll respect. I'll just leave it.
Actually, this is just a variable dun sa logic ng question ni Tito Boy. This is not about pornography. This is about child protection.
Oo, yun nga, iko-connect ko lang naman kung bakit ko siya panindigan na I'll just leave it the way it is. But, lalo na ngayon sa pandemic, maraming ng mga nagko-content creation na adult like OnlyFans. Maraming kumikita ganyan, Twitter, di ba? It's a legit industry na may mga nakakakain. If you're able to bring foods on your table by doing pornography, who are you to judge? Di ba? No, I mean, iko-connect ko lang naman. No, I mean, iko-connect ko lang naman na if consumed properly by the legal age, it's okay. But the thing here is, kung accessible, ang pagkakaintindi ko sa question is, what will you do if it's being accessed at addicted ng iyong children? Yun kasi ang point doon. Doon napapasok yung correct parenthood, di ba? Being sex positive. Talk about sex inside the house and don't just prohibit the kids. Uy, bawal yan. So ikaw naman na hindi mo bata ka, na hindi mo alam na, ay, bakit bawal? Remember, curious ang bata. At curiosity, yun yung magti-trigger sa kanila, manonood tayo. Without proper education, kasi ang mali kasi sa ating mga magulang ngayon, we keep prohibiting our children without the proper explanation as to why. Diba? I would suggest that we have to start, kasi nga, ang buong country, kung number 1, diba? We are very religious country tayo eh. But it's in contrary, we are number 1 Pornhub consumer. That's alarming. Why? Because meron tayong papasok tayo ng cognitive dissonance ng sinasabi mo, di ba, Princess? Na kung ano yung dinidisplay natin, it's really different on what we are actually getting. Kasi kung religious country tayo, pero number 1 tayo sa Pornhub, so there's something na hindi natin alam. And that's where the family has the huge role to play. Kasi tandaan natin na ang pamilya ay ang pinakamaliit na unit ng community or ng society. And that's where the education starts. Hindi mo kailangang ipasa pa sa yung sex education and the pornography. Hindi na kailangan pang ipasa yun sa mga teacher. Ikaw na mismo, mga magulang, the moment na hindi mo yan i-explain at pagbabawalan mo lang yung anak mo, dyan na magkakaproblema. Pagbawalan mo, but there's a corresponding explanation as to why. Kasi curiosity will trigger the children to access those prohibited content na it's a legit industry. So yun lang naman ang point ko.
Basahin natin si RC Quitanes.
Sige.
Government and PH internet service provider siguro yan can have a MOA. Naku, hindi ko na naman alam yung MOA.
Memorandum of Agreement.
To block all porno websites as well as to VPN providers to block porno websites if you want to completely restrict access to pornography sites.
Hindi ako. Diyan ako, against ako dyan.
Well,
ayoko magpapakahipokrito but I enjoyed porn.
Ang hirap. Again, this question is not if you see the logic, it's about child protection. Ngayon, kung ang solution talaga I think narinig ko na na parang i-implement daw dito na parang yung sa Facebook, kailangan talaga ng ID. And then, what else pa ba? Even nga yung mga SIM cards daw, ipaparegister na eh. Hindi lang tayo yan. Ang kailangan maging solusyon dyan, we need to discuss this with other countries. Simulan natin sa ASEAN, ganyan. Although, ang daming LGBT na talagang totally block ng mga, alam niyo na, sa Twitter, talagang siguro luluha na lang ang buong LGBT community, no? Pero kailangan medyo talagang yung may coalition or something or grupo ng mga bansa, yun naman talagang unang step doon, yung magpulong ang iba't ibang mga bansa just to talk to these company giants, no? Dahil kung Pilipinas lang, sabihin natin sa Facebook na, pwede ba, wag nyo kang hayaang ma-register yung gawin nyo to, mga filters na to, i-apply ninyo. Hindi naman po pwede para lang sa Pilipinas. That's not possible.
Pero kasi diba, Princess, if we also consider those countries na binablock yung mga IP for pornography, I have the data that they also have like high number of rape. They also have high numbers of women harassment. Ito yung mga sobrang malilibog talaga kasi nga they're being deprived of that certain stimulation, they're being deprived visually doon sa papanoorin. It also parang affect the behavior of the country if
Next,
totally banned.
number 6, rape-related abortion. According to data from Philippine Safe
O
Abortion
yun according.
Advocacy
Mm-mm.
Networks and Gender Rights Inc., one Filipino girl is being raped every 75 minutes. About 1 in 8 Filipino women who resort to abortion are rape survivors. 70 women induce abortion every hour. A complication from unsafe and illegal abortion is one of the leading causes of maternal death and hospitalization. In the Philippines, year 2012 alone, 610 women induce abortion. Over 100,000 women are hospitalized and 1,000 women died because of the complications from unsafe abortion. Due to a lack of access to safe and legal abortion in the country, at least 3 women died every day. Is it time to enact a law of abortion to allow abortion to pregnant women due to rape?
So, yes, it's okay to have options. 'Di ba? It's lahat naman tayo mas okay pag may option. I think this is no longer an issue of religion nor morality, question of morality. This is a question about anong mangyayari ng bata kapag pinanganak siya, he or she actually will feel the hatred all throughout his or her existence from the mother. Yun din yung hindi nila tinitingnan eh. Kasi hindi ako naniniwala na trauma will heal overnight. Especially na makikita mo yung anak mo na ano siya, a product of something na traumatic. Tama nga naman yung ibang mga sinasabi na dapat daw papasok yung mga expert, mga social worker, but that's not what happening in our society. Kaya nga merong mga non-government organization na bumubuo kasi nga yung social workers, government social worker, hindi ganun ka effective. That's why na NGO exists. So in reality, kung hindi natin to ipapa-approve yung law to abort, to abort child that are product of rape, it suffers both the mother. It will keep reminding her the pain and the scenario how she was being raped every time na makikita niya yung anak. Well, I don't wanna judge kasi time will change din naman, di ba, Princess? Pwede rin kasing malalaman niya na parang, ay, mahal ko pala yung anak in the latter part, yung mga ganun. But what about others? Subjective kasi siya. So, pag without safe access or legal access to abortion, alam mo yung pupunta ka na lang doon sa mga mananabang. Alam mo yung mananabang? Ano ba, midwife, ipakuot mo na lang, ano mo na lang, buksan mo na lang yung pukip sinirot mo, ipahila yung bata without considering the complication that it will lead to mortality. So yun yung access doon. It's better to have option. This is no longer about moral compass. We are entitled to our own moral compass. You have different measure, I have different measure sa pagdating sa moral compass. Yun lang naman. It's okay to have an option, especially if your life is in danger.
Ganun
Ikaw
din naman ako kasi
Mm-mm.
definitely ang magiging sagot dito is mostly yung basis nila sa sagot nila is sa
Religion.
paniniwala nila sa religion. At lahat naman
Oo.
tayo may sarili nating paniniwala, whether it's religion or iba pang aspeto sa buhay. At wala namang masama doon. And if you are the leader of the country, mas gusto ko na parang ang leader ay
Risky?
although ganito ang paniniwala niya, bukas siya sa pag-uusap. Kumbaga,
True. Yun yung hinahanap ko sa mga sagot na yun, Princess. Kasi the thing with the
kasi ito yung maze
candidates,
na ito nga yung maze na sinet up ni
ni
Boy.
Boy Abunda.
Lahat ng mga follow-up niya, talagang yung walang labas doon. Pag pumasok ka doon sa loop na yon, walang labasan yon. Pag pumasok ka naman doon sa isa, wala ring labas yun.
Labasan.
Kailangan you need to think out of the box para basagin yun. Now, ganun ang sa akin ang parang ang ideal sa akin na hindi naman ideal pero ang mas magandang tingnan as a leader na although ganito yung paniniwala ko, bukas ako sa diskurso, kung
Mm.
kasi hindi naman ang law, hindi naman ako magaling, pero hindi naman lahat ng law ay absolute at walang exemptions. Ay, yung elementary teacher ko nga, ang tanda-tanda ko sinasabi niya. I don't know kung sinabi rin to sa inyo ng teacher niyo na um, every rule has an exemption. Parang ganon.
Mm.
There's always exemption to the rule. Ganon yung pagkakasabi niya. At tumatak sa akin yun. At lahat ng mga follow-up questions ni Boy Abunda ay talagang mga dapat sigulong exemptions to the rule yun. At kung may parang ganito ang sitwasyon, baka naman pwedeng i-allow. Baka naman, di ba?
Bikini Man.
Sa
Kapakanan nung rape survivor. Yun yung point niya
changes
dun eh.
sa batas.
Changes ng batas, oo.
Oo. Hindi naman changes sa minor parang revision sa mga options nga na sinasabi mo. At hindi yun sa general idea about abortion in general.
Oo.
Kung
Specific lang siya eh.
Oo. Kasi ibang ibang argumento yun
Ibang
eh.
argumento. Kasi kung sinasabing free,
yun.
pero pag sinabing ako para maintindihan lang sa mga manonood ko na baka marami talagang magagalit sa akin ito. Pero kasi ang point ko dito is rape specific lang naman. When it comes to totally abortion law, I'm against. Kasi ang mangyayari niyan, kawawa naman yung mga, alam mo yun, mga anak, irresponsible pregnancy, tapos para ka lang nagpipitas ng ng santol, pitas, parang ganun lang nangyari, palaglag ka ng palaglag every 9 months. That's kind of barbaric.
Oo, yes. Ako rin naman. Yung paniniwala ko rin naman hindi naman ako religious, pero ang paniniwala ko rin naman is, it's a no-no ang abortion for me. Hindi ako religious sa tao. 7 illegal drugs. Duterte admits he was wrong on the 3 to 6 months drug war deadline. I feel so bad about all of these things kasi nalaman ko paano ko makontrol in 3 to 6 months. Ang mga generals na police nandyan. Tapos yung mga Bureau of Customs na inaasahan ko, PI nasa droga. How will I succeed nasa droga? Duterte said in a speech in Ozamis City. Alam ko na nagkamali talaga ako, he added. The president also said the Philippines has now become a narcotics country. Now, magtanong kayo, ang Pilipinas, are we or are we not a narcotics country? Yes, we are, he said. Sabi ko, tama, iyang silang mga kritiko ko. Sabi mo, noong nagpresidente ka, 3 to 6 months. Hindi ko alam pagpasok ko Davao lang kasi ako, so ang template ko, Davao. May droga, pero sabi ko, maglaro ka doon, patay ka talaga, he added. Tanong, how much do you know about illegal drugs in the Philippines? Are we a narco country? Parang may karugtong to, hindi to kompleto. Parang, pero siguro, what are you gonna do? Parang ganun yung last part nun.
Ako naman, napag-usapan na natin to dati for friend, di ba? Nung hindi pa tayo naka-work from home, nasa company ka pa nag-work na nung sumasakay tayo sa van, sumasakay tayo sa sa taxi pala o sa Grab papuntang office. We always talk about this issue, di ba? Na parang drug or narcotics or illegal drugs plays a huge role. Kasi di ba, kwento mo yung sa dun sa kaibigan mo na parang they are in pharmaceutical company, yung mga vitamin C. Parang sabi mo nga, pag may ginalaw ka doon sa
hindi
economy,
parang ko yun. Chika lang yun ni mother. Yung mother ng friend ko. Chinika niya sa akin. Ewan ko kung tama ba yung observation niya, na related yun sa... Ayun, parang ang point doon sa sitwasyon na
ginalaw ka doon sa ecosystem, parang ganun.
Naalala ko na yung point na sinasabi ko sa iyo noon. Parang many businesses kasi, guys, talagang involved din sa drugs, no? At
pag may ginalaw ka doon.
Ayun, yung dahil nga yung
kasi
vitamins,
it's always been it's always been like that. The drug is always been like that. Meron talagang income, merong ayaw man natin pero merong mga pamilyang nabubuhay din sa ganung business. Diba? And it plays in economy din. Parang ganun yung argument natin that time.
I'm so impressed about you kasi naalala mo pa yung yung parang sinabi ko niya yan dati. Kasi inisip ko na rin yan eh. Because you brought that up. And it's a controversial stance na kasi it really plays a huge role in the economy kapag nawala lahat yan. Sunod-sunod kasi yung domino effect
Oo,
niyan
magdo-domino effect
sa
siya.
ibang industriya. Tulad ng isang example ko dun kay Tansyong na yung vitamins company na kinukwento sa akin ni Mother. Parang nagkandalugi-lugi ba? Dahil
Oo.
hindi na
Humina
makabili
din yung logistic, humina yung
oo.
consumption, parang
Dahil
it
yung mga
affects the
regular
circulation.
customers, yung mga big
Oo.
customers niya na earning from drug money, eh hindi na tumutuloy
Pag
makipagnegosasyon sa kanya.
Oo.
Gano'n.
Kasi wala na ring buying capacity. Kumbaga yung mga business na stop na, yung mga illegal thingy na stop na, so wala na rin silang mga buying capacity. It also affects destructively doon sa mga small businesses that can supposedly circulate. Kasi nga it has been always like that. Para kasing merong war of drug, which is pabor naman talaga ako doon. But the thing here is mawawala din yung mga rehab, parang mawawala din yung mga rehab establishment, rehabilitation businesses. So wala na, mawawala din yung mga businesses na yon. And then from that, bababa yung mga crimes. But still, meron pa rin tayong poverty-driven crimes. 'Di ba? So parang dapat
Yes.
isa, 'di ba? Isa pa rin siya sa mga isa pa rin
That's a
siya,
good point then, yes.
'di ba? Parang hindi lang naman yung pang-rape, naman,
Parang oo, parang Death Note na parang 'di ba ang conclusion, sino bang nanonood dito guys ng Death Note? Wala na masyadong nanonood sa atin eh, pero yung 'di ba, yung parang gusto ni Yagami Light na patayin lahat ng mga criminals, eh hindi naman gano'n ang human heart. Na pag
true.
napatay mo na lahat ng criminals, eh wala nang
Maging okay na yung
wala nang
circulation ng
oo,
buhay, 'di ba?
oo.
It's not always like that.
Parang gano'n din.
Hindi ibig sabihin na pag sinugpo mo yung drugs, illegal drugs, it will
Matatapos na ang
matatapos
criminality.
na ang crime. It's not always
Oo.
like that. It might affect the quality of life of the country, but I don't think so kasi yung Colombia, they're the biggest exporter, Mexico exporter of illegal drugs, which makes also their economy boom. Mayroon sila mga housing, nagkaroon sila kasi it's na siya parang handled by the narco companies
Oo.
'di ba? Nag-boost din naman ng 'di ba? When it comes to crime, yung crime naman ganun din naman yung nangyayari sa crime. May mga patayan rin naman sa ibang mga bansa na walang drugs. So it's just the matter of the government intervention when it comes to police visibility. Yun lang naman police visibility and fairness to implement justice. Ganun na naman kasi tingnan mo, nakukulong yung mga runner pero yung mga drug lord hindi.
Ako naman
Di
diyan,
ba?
may batas na. I mean, we can, kung ako ang presidente, talagang gano'n talaga. Kung ako ang presidente,
Oo, ganun talaga question dito
gano'n na lang i-abolish ko yung war on
Lang yan,
drugs at
matalino ka naman
mag-focus ako sa batas na meron na tayo at sa mga departamento na meron na tayo at i-reinforce nila ang isang problema sa atin, hindi lang naman dito sa drugs, sa ibang mga batas pa. May mga batas naman talaga tayo, hindi naman na-enforce. Hindi naman napaparusahan ng mga
minsan nga
dapat
redundant na yung mga
parusahan.
ibang batas
So, yun, kasi hindi naman, I don't think na meron ba tayo mga mafia dito na na mga drug-related mafia para ma-concern na tayo about the talagang, I don't know, maybe mali ako kasi hindi naman ako well-versed sa drug issue.
Anong tawag dyan sa mafia? Hindi, parang may terminology dyan na parang
Tingnan muna natin yung data kung talaga bang
gusto ko yan, data-driven decision.
Oh my God, yan din yung ko. Yung nagustuhan ko sa kanya. Mamaya natin pag-usapan. Yeah.
Moving forward, let's
Number
discuss
8,
the
Philippine debt. According to the Bureau of Treasury, after Joseph Estrada's administration, PH debt ended up at 2.6 trillion. After Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's administration, 5.1 trillion.
Pesos
After
to.
Ninoy Aquino, 6.5 trillion. And ending November 2021 during Rodrigo Duterte's administration, we have now a running of the total of 11.93 trillion debt. That's in Philippine pesos.
Parang meron kasi akong nabasang joke sa Facebook memes. Alam mo naman yung ko puro memes sa Facebook. Na merong doon nagsabi na mag-create na lang daw ng YouTube channel yung government, tapos subscribe na lang ng buong Pilipino, tapos watch na lang ng content para makabayad daw sa utang. Parang ganun. I just didn't actually imagine na trillion na pala yung usapan. Akala ko billion lang. Parang trillion na pala.
Manood naman kaya, Diyos ko. Ang importante nga kasi dyan is yung magtiwala yung yung mga tao sa gobyerno. Na naniniwala ako doon that's one critical element din yung yung sabi ng isang candidate na pero kasi paano mo naman parang catch-22 kasi yun eh. Kailangan may gawin muna yung gobyerno na big change para talagang magtiwala yung tao sa gobyerno. Anyway, sa debt, ako ba muna? Sa Philippine debt. Ngayon ko lang din sa interview na yun nagigets yung yung debt to
yung bigat.
GDP rate.
Oo, yung gravity ng na yan.
Hindi, in terms of debt to GDP ratio, yung it's okay naman umutang. Pero dapat na doon ka pa rin sa I don't know, sa advisable debt to GDP ratio. I don't know, hindi ko alam kung ilang percent ba, pero since nandun pa tayo sa banga, okay naman pala. Pero parang ang dating kasi sa feeling ko sa sinasabi ni Boyce, parang malapit na tayong umexceed sa parang oops, medyo delikado na. So, paano ba natin siya mapipigilang wag tayo umexceed doon? Yun yung tanong. So, ang hirap nun kasi kung may
how do you manage paying the debt when elected? So, yun yung pinakamahirap.
Ang tanong ko sa'yo, Tansyong, what if yung pandemic, mag-surge ng napaka, pa rin, ganyan. Kasi, boils down to the pandemic eh. This question can be, is tricky kasi lumobo naman yung utang, because of the pandemic for the past 2 years. And yun yung actually pinabunto dun eh. It's about this crisis na hindi mo talaga maiiwasan. About sa pandemic, ito talaga.
Oo. So, well, to tell you honestly, sobrang believe naman ako sa economy ng Philippines, lalo na nung nag-end siya ng 2019. Fourth quarter of 2019, GDP of the Philippine national GDP of the Philippine country actually increases of 6.4% growth in just fourth quarter of 2019, which is makes 5.9% in the entire 2019. Ito lang talaga ang hirap i-accountable, i-account ngayon nga dahil nga may pandemic. And majority pa naman ng mga question ni Boy Abonda is parang ang dali lang sagutin kung nasa 2019 tayo. Totoo, yung nasa 2019 pa tayo na panahon, ang bilis lang given the fact of the numbers and all that. Kasi ako, economics graduate kasi ako, so I'm more on numbers talaga. Ang bilis lang niya. But the thing here is 2 years na kasing merong variable. 2 years na tayong may variable na hindi pa natin mapipredict kung anong mangyayari in the next 3 years. Kasi nga kahit gawin nating pagbangon ng pabangon ng tourism, kaya naman understandable naman na nagbukas sila ng tourism that will also sacrifice the health kasi nga papasok ng ibang variant kasi they're trying to boost the economy. Yun naman eh. Yung mga businesses mag 30% yung capacity, yung mga restaurant. Understandable naman siya kasi nga hindi naman pwede tayong mabuhay ng buong takot ng without parang stimulating doon sa isang stakeholder ng para ma-boost yung economy. And understandable naman siya, pero kasi ang hirap niyo, friend. Ang hirap niya kasi kung pagbabasahin natin, fluctuate kasi ngayon every month magla-lockdown, will dramatically bababa din ang economy. So pag ikaw decision maker, how will you decide if you are actually a data-driven decision maker if the data itself is not like stable? How will you decide it? Buti kung magbe-base ka sa 2019, but 2019 wala namang pandemic that time, 'di ba? So ang tanong, makakabayad ka ba? How will you manage paying the debt of when elected? Na utang naman talaga tayo ng utang pagdating sa mga ayuda, may mga pautang pa tayo, may mga ganun. Maybe ano lang, proper management or proper budgeting, tsaka corruption. It all boils down sa corruption, te. Babalik pa rin tayo doon.
So, oo. Tama naman yan.
Feeling ko magandang topic yan, friend, utang. As an individual, yung mga utangan, mag-ano tayo pag proper launching ng tayo ng ating podcast pag dumating na yung mga gadget. On logistic pa kasi tayo, isa yun sa magandang topic na i-brought up natin. Yung mga utang na yan. Hindi lang national debt ha, yung mga debt mo sa kaibigan.
Ang tricky nga kasi yung ano dito ni ang pinupunto dito ni Boy is really not about it's really not about debt talaga eh.
Actually, napapansin ko doon sa interview one-on-one interview ni Boy is a test of your personality.
It's a test of your not just your personality kasi nasa drama niya, dinadaan niya yung sa drama eh. So, yung pagiging dramatic niya, pag sumalo ka doon, naki-ride on ka pa doon at nagdrama-drama ka rin, di hindi natin alam.
May iyak nga eh.
Oh. Pero yung tanong niya kasi tests yung talino mo rin talaga, yung logic mo. At although Philippine debt to, it's more on ano ba yung gagawin mo kung ang may dumating sa termino mo na hindi maiwasan talaga at tulad ng pandemic, hindi mo na alam baka kung ano man dumating sa termino mo, ang gagawin mo lang ba o utang ka lang ba? Yun yung pinupunto ni Boy doon.
Paano ka maging innovative?
This is not about Philippine debt.
Oo.
Yun yung logic ng tanong niya.
Substance, oo.
So, ako, hindi ko rin alam ang gagawin kasi hindi naman ako matalino. So, basta yun lang yung pagkakaintindi ko sa logic ng tanong ni Tito.
Well, kaya rin naman natin sila sinasahuran ng tax natin para talagang mabaliw sa pag-iisip ng paano bayaran ng utang. But again, hindi siya gusto ko yung sinasabi sa candidates na it's not good we keep taxing the Filipinos just to pay what we actually need to spend for the country. Hindi lahat tax.
Since yung pandemic ang talagang nagdahilan kung bakit tayo umutang ng malaki. Naalala ko tuloy si Senator Miriam, yung para lumabas na ewan ko kung totoo ba yung press release na yun or something, nag-leak na she was before she died, she was preparing to
for a pandemic parang law, parang ganon.
Like a pandemic preparation bill, something like that.
Oo, bill.
So,
sayang no?
Talaga ako kay Miriam.
Yun yung isa sa mga sinasabi ko nga, dapat ahead of anything ka talaga. Hindi pa dumating yung problema, ahead ka na dapat.
Since meron pa rin tayong pandemic at yun naman talaga yung nagpadapa sa atin. So, kailangan gawa tayo ng parang ganun nga, yung pinapropose ni Senator Miriam. At para meron na tayong modelo kung ano nang tamang gawin ba sa sitwasyon na to. At since we're talking about Philippine debt, hindi talaga basta-basta ang desisyon dyan. So, we will discuss with economists. I don't know, is this about
NEDA, 'di ba? Consult yung mga iba-ibang agency, yung NEDA kasi if PSA, the Statistic Authority, they have the numbers and NEDA have the economic numbers. Now they can actually take advantage of those data and implement.
If we talked about West Philippine Sea, Scarborough Shoal, Bajo de Mansol, the Spratly Islands, that's the Kalayaan Island Group. These are being also claimed by China's territories. In fact, in the reef of Zamora and Mischief Reef, also known as Panganiban Reef, the Chinese government illegally construct infrastructure and continuously reclaim the area. On July 12, 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration, PCACPA, released a decision that the said areas are owned by the Philippines, but China kept claiming illegally. In addition, ending December 2021, the Philippines already filed 241 diplomatic protests. 152 are being responded to by China. So tanong, if all diplomatic protests failed, as President of the Republic of the Philippines, do you think we are strong enough and prepared to fight for a defensive war against China? So, i-shout out ko lang na po na si although hindi naman niya 'to mapapanood,
Sige,
si
sige.
Thinking Pinoy
Oo, Thinking
dahil
Pinoy.
kino-correct niya itong part na ito na ano ba, yung Permanent Court of Arbitration.
Oo.
Kasi nanonood kasi ako kay Thinking Pinoy at sabi ng binasa niya ng ilang beses yung Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling.
Mm.
Ang hindi naman sinasabi daw doon na ang areas na yon ay sa Pilipinas. Walang sinabing ganun
Hindi siya verbatim.
Hindi siya ganon. Ang sinasabi, China, masyadong OA kayo, China. Yung parang 9-dash line ninyo is bawasan nyo. Pero hindi sinabi ng arbitrary kung isang inch ba yan na i-atras mo o 10,000 milya mo i-atras yung 9-dash line mo. Hindi sinabi ng arbitration. Ang sinasabi is sobra ang 9-11 line ng China. Yun yung sinabi ni Thinking Pinoy kasi siya mismo yung nagbasa nung arbitration ruling.
Are we actually militarily navally?
Meron ba silang term na sinasabi dito sa part na to, yung mga bilateral agreement? Ano ba yun? Pag-uusap lang ba yun? Yung ba ibig sabihin ng bilateral agreement? Marami talaga akong term na hindi alam, guys, pagdating sa politika. Dahil talaga ako well-versed. Ngayon pa lang ako nanonood ng Thinking Pinoy. Ngayon pa lang ako nag-ano.
Masaya rin kayo.
Pero going back to answering this question, Philippine Sea, ako, this is South China Sea. Char!
Pili ko talagang binubwisit mo ako.
Hindi, baka marami magalit sa akin eh. This is about conquering territories, no? Just like the African
British.
Other country. Yung mga mga airport nila na, Diyos ko, inutang nila sa China, wala na pa silang pambayad. Pag may-ari na ng China. This is modern,
modern colonialism.
Anong tawag doon? Diyos ko. Hindi kasi ako magaling sa English. Diyos ko. Modern imperialism ba? Or modern, basta, modern conquering. Modern conquering. Modern conquering. Ito, may nabasa akong article. This is a Rappler article at dati ko siyang nabasa. How we attack daw this issue of West Philippine Sea. It's an old article by Rappler. Tapos sabi doon, we have to learn the game of Go. Alam niyo ba yung Go? Kasi syempre ako, alam ko na yung kada Chinese drama is
Oo, kasi nga di ba nanonood ka?
Nandun ang Go eh.
Oo, sige pa explain kasi wala. Ako, will you explain it in a short but rigid na kayang intindihin ng tulad ko na grade 1 na hindi alam yung Go? Go.
Okay. Go is it's Japanese term for this Asian board game. Yung board game na may white and black circles and pieces na akala mo pagkadali-daling laruin. When I watched YouTube videos kung paano siya laruin, my God, dumugo yung utak ko, guys. Sabi ko, my God, paano naging napakahirap ng game na to? Puro white and black circle pieces lang.
Oo.
At kailangan kasi i-surround mo yung kalaban mo. Tapos, pag na-surround mo siya sa buong corner, yung nasa gitna na piece, kukunin mo na siya, sa'yo na. So that's the surrounding game of Go. Sa
Go.
Chinese, ang term ng Go is Wei Chi. Para lang sa kaalaman ng lahat, it's Wei Chi sa Chinese, Go sa Japanese. So, sabi sa Rappler article, the way to handle daw this West Philippine Sea problem, let's learn the game of Go. Itong game na to, it's really built in talaga sa
Chinese
Chinese
culture?
culture. Sa Chinese, dahil it's a strategy game. It's a strategy game na, Diyos ko, ako nanonood ako ng Chinese drama. Halos lahat ng Chinese drama, laging may ganon na yung emperor naglalaro ng Go, tapos yung subject niya bubulong sa i-dethrone ka na ng ganon. Ganun ang may eksena sa Chinese drama. Ganyan. So, hanggang aalisin na iwas niya yung board game, ganyan. Yun, yung yung strategy na to ng China is really is embedded to their culture. Ang sinasabi na point nito ng Rappler is we're not learning how China thinks. We're not studying how China
China
thinks.
play.
China has really a rich historical background and cultural background
Na
na
nakakatulong.
marami siyang maraming mga elemento doon na nag-involve sa how the way they think, the way they do business. So, para maintindihan natin kung paano i-handle tong dispute sa territory, let's learn their how they think, and then let's go from there. Ano ba pag daw nating malaman kung lahat-lahat ma-study, and it's probably gonna be a long discussion, ganyan. Doon tayo mag-come up kung anong gagawin natin. It could be a combination of different things, bilateral talks, ganyan, etc. And then nalaman ko nga kay Boy Abunda na sa ibang sa isang candidate na wala naman daw kumakausap sa wala
Sa
naman daw
China?
kumakausap sa China. Kano ko ba narinig yun? Basta narinig ko sa
Sa isang candidates. Kilala ko,
candidate.
ayaw ko lang banggitin.
Nakalimutan ko kung sino eh.
Oo, wala naman daw
Basta,
kumakausap. But
So-
would you consider alliance from strong country for our protection? Is that something that you can consider or something similar? How would you explain that? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
Okay, kasi magdadalawang oras na tayo. So in a nutshell,
Umiwas ka lang eh.
oo. So in a nutshell, kasi sasagutin ko naman yung tanong mo, no? So, yung alliance, hindi naman alliance. Alliance is like, ang alliance kasi is dapat of equal powers kayo
Connivance.
para maging alliance. So, alam mo naman diferensya natin between between us and China, no. So, yung way na ideal sa akin as dapat matanggap ng karamihan para sa akin is yung ang ma-achieve natin is not to totally have the control over these islands, but to have a fair share. Yun lang. That's the utmost goal. to have a fair share on
Mm-mm.
these on our own territories.
But
Kasi
but greed is already embedded to anyone. Pinapapasok talaga kita sa maze, you know? Kunyari, sabi ko,
greed,
gayahin ko si Boy Abunda.
exactly, exactly.
But greed is already embedded to anyone. So, if fair share is something that you actually come up as a solution, what if greed
Not a
occur?
solution. It's not the solution. It's the ideal
Consider,
outcome for me.
okay.
It's the outcome na dapat i-work on mo. Hindi ko alam ang solusyon doon dahil hindi ako expert, pero yun yung outcome na dapat mong i-goal para matanggap naman nating lahat na alam mo yon na nakikinabang din naman tayo at hindi na dun sa fair share na yon is hindi agrabyado yung mga mangingisda natin over that
Oo.
area.
Truly. Kasi 'di ba, may mga infrastructure na nga 'di ba, tapos binubomba ng tubig yung mga dumadaan na mga mangingisda, which is something na
Kasi
hindi
this
siya
is just noise eh. Noise lang to na
mm.
yeah, it's ours, it's ours. Yun naman pala narinig ko sa wala naman palang daw kumakausap sa kanila. I don't know kung yun, isa pa yun sa mga dapat nating isipin
Consider.
doon sa pagsagot ng mga candidates kung sino yung may mga hidden agenda diyan. Kasi makikita mo naman yun eh sa how they talk. Sino ba tong may mga hidden agenda? Sino yung
Oo.
sino yung
Kasi yun
yung
din yung kino-consider ko
yun?
if you are actually asking for help from other strong country. You also need to consider that this strong country, though they have also a hidden agenda kasi ang layo na nila eh. So pag pinapunta natin sila dito just for like balikatan. Ano ba yung dati yung balikatan? Exercises, military and naval exercises, marine exercises, strengthening our hindi ko naman masasabing connivance or connection to the strong country kasi nga we are not capable of protecting our own sovereignty. Kasi nga hindi pa naman tayo malakas. Kumbaga dati parang iwan ko lang ha kasi dati kung yung mga lapu-lapu parang feeling ko nga wala silang holistic approach when it comes to protecting their sovereignty. But so
Yeah, okay.
let's go ahead and continue our discussion. Nasa naman tayo, no? Nasa
Last
last
question na to,
question,
di
which is,
ba?
go
According
ahead.
to the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, Article 7, Section 2, no person may be elected president unless he is a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, a registered voter, able to read and write, at least 40 years of age on the day of the election, and a resident of the Philippines for at least 10 years immediately preceding such election. Tanong, is it time to amend that provision?
Ngayon kasi parang lahat ng trabaho ngayon, hinahanapan ng educational background. Aside pa sa educational background, ang hirap ka makapasok sa trabaho dahil hahanapan ka ng experience. That's the basic requirement. First timer mo sa trabaho, hanapan ka ng experience. Diba? That defeats of the purpose of kung hanapan ka ng experience to start with. And I think this is something that we also have to apply in our country kasi yes, it is. It will jeopardize the equality kasi sabi nga, kahit anong educational background, pwede kang mag-apply as President of the Philippines as long as you are able to read and write and you're a Filipino and with all those mentioned above na mga condition. But that's something na hindi siya pang world-class standard. Kasi you're the head of the National Security Council but you don't even know how to magkalas ng Armalite. Hindi ka nag-undergo ng ROTC, wala kang basic knowledge and advanced knowledge is if necessary. So mag-supervise ka ng all local government pero wala kang training about leadership and people management. Mag-a-act ka ng chief of... In favor ako na dapat i-amend siya. Those jobs requires advanced knowledge, skills, and experiences.
Hindi na ako in favor na na
walang black and white. Dapat, walang gray. Dapat black and white.
Kaya nga, ito na nga, hindi na nga ako in favor dahil sa kanila ko lang din naman na yung sagot ko dyan sa interviews ni Boy. So, dahil nga daw this is the logic behind this law na lahat naman pwedeng maging presidente. Yung isang yung point doon is Ang dapat tutukan is how we allow aspiring personalities and aspiring politicians to actually have a chance to become a president. Yung mga deserving talaga at hindi yung mga nanggaling sa
Putyo-putyo.
dynasty, yung mga puro
Okay.
pare-pares na lang na pangalan ang nakikita natin. Kasi may mga kilala ako, bakla. May mga kilala ako na deserving talagang pero hindi naman
Walang chance.
maka-breakthrough.
Oo,
May
totoo.
sa ibang bansa pa nag-aral pero hindi maka-breakthrough dahil ito nga yung sistema ng kung paano natin piliin yung talagang magjo-join sa politika at sa gobyerno. So,
Hindi siya, kasi nangyari kasi ngayon, it's a form of entertainment eh.
oo,
Parang nangyayari,
Diyos
parang
ko.
politics became now a form of entertainment. Naging comedy nga siya eh. Sa nagiging comedy, nagiging drama, may paiyak-iyak pa, which is something that
Hindi, kung
we also
yung
need to consider na
sino yung idolo
huwag na tayo
mo.
magpad. And all you guys, thanks so much. Bye!